the marriage rate. Let me show you what that look like. Let's see if I can get that to zoom in any better. Of course, it's dark and doesn't want to be seen because why? That's what this does. Anyway, you can see the blue line there, and it starts in 1970 with a divorce rate of 15 per 1,000 women. Now, this is all of the women in the country.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this represents. Not just married women. This is all of the women in the country, 15 per 1,000 women. And then by 1980, it's up to 22.6. You can see how it skyrockets. And that's right around the time that all of the no-fault divorce laws started to happen.
Actually, by 1978, I believe all but California had no-fault divorce laws.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we covered that originally with Second Class Citizen long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away when Pop and I had a radio station based out of Hawaii. And then you see the slide down. That represents a crashing divorce rate. Now, marriages pick back up again. Divorce rates pick back up again. And men sense the same shit. And boom, look at the slide.
What year was it when they started to go back up?
This was, you know what? I have to bring up the actual file here because I cannot see it on my screen.
Is that around 2010?
Because, yeah, it's right around 2010. That is correct.
All right. And then when did it start to dip again in 2020?
Hang on one second. I don't know why this StreamYard isn't letting me see the PDF that I have up on the screen, but it's not.
Great.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I know where the file is. Right there. Anyway, that is.
Yep. Well, the thing is when you look at that data, how the divorce rate, it just skyrockets down.
Between 2000 and 2009, marriages started to pick back up again. So you had a divorce rate of 18.3 per thousand in 2000. Then in 2009, it shoots back up to 22. And that was the Me Too movement. Mm-hmm. That was right around the Me Too movement, remember?
Yeah.
Well, that started in
2010.
The
Me Too?
Yeah. I would say it was right around 2010, 11.
That's when it started. It was popularized in the media by 2020.
Yeah.
But the whole everybody who looks at me funny is molesting me nonsense.
Yeah.
That started in 2010. Now girls are getting on social media and they're crying because guys will not catcall them anymore.
They won't even talk to them.
Won't even talk to them. And women are like, nobody will look at me. I'm so pretty and nobody will look.
But when you talk to a bunch of the liberal left idiots, they're going to go, well, divorce is on its way down. But they never mention that the marriage rates are in the toilet.
Yeah, there's nothing to divorce.
Yes.
The divorce rates are down to 14 per thousand right now.
Yes, but the marriage rate.
That's where we are. Yeah, exactly.
It's between 5.1 and 6.3 out of 1,000.
And that's what's happening there. That's what that graph represents. Everybody thinks, oh, look, divorce is down, marriages are steady, and no, nobody's getting married anymore.
Chief Wagner, you're bouncing up and down. Are you jacking off under the table or something?
I'm trying to clean off my screen. Sorry.
He's watching. He's watching clips of the Marines being deployed in Los Angeles. Jealous.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? That's fantastic.
But another thing, while I was, I filed for divorce, I believe, at the end of 2006, and I wound up being homeless, living out of my car. Beginning of 2007, somewhere in the beginning of 2007 for about 6 months. And I spent a lot of time doing research in regards to divorce because, I'm a warrior. If I'm going to go into war, I want to know everything there is to know about my enemy, his rules of engagement, TTPs, everything. And what I did, and this data is mainly for the Tri-County area here in Michigan. But I numberlined somewhere between 1,500 and 1,800 divorces. And I would basically, in the paperwork, you look at the first 2 or 3 pages of the divorce. It tells you when the marriage happened, and then it tells you, when it was filed, when you go with the file date. And I numberlined the divorces, and they all landed around 7, 13, 21, and 24.
Oh yeah, the windows.
Yeah.
With a majority
Yeah.
at 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the way I looked at it, roughly you had back then about a 36 to 46% chance of getting divorced at 7 years. At 13 years, it goes up to like 55, 65%. I know the percentages aren't working out because it was such a big subset of numbers. But after that, like 21, 24, it went down quite a bit. Now, I'm thinking, I've heard all of this about the gray divorce. I think the 21 and 24 years are actually going up now. And I mean, I don't understand it. If you're a woman and you've been married for, 20 years, unless that dude is beating you on a regular basis or doing something incredibly abusive, it's probably not in a woman's best interest to get divorced, but yet they do it.
There's a woman here in town who has 9 children, and like 16 grandbabies already, and she's only in her early 40s. And after 19 years of marriage, she divorced her husband.
Yes, and I'm sure that's going to work out for
with
her.
9 kids, and the youngest is like 5.
Uh-huh.
And she stepped away from that. I'm like, I didn't engage. I didn't want to hear any more than that, because basically what I was going to do is say, what the fuck is wrong with you? You've 9 children, and the youngest one is 5.
Well, now
and you're breaking up the home.
Well, you and I know that woman, if she did not get a substantial amount of money in the divorce, she's never going to retire. She's going to have to hustle the rest of her life.
Dude, Pop, she's working as a waitress at the Hitch.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Which is a literal biker roadhouse up here in the Thumb in Michigan.
Correct. Correct. But another thing, and another observation that I made.
Yeah.
Because I actually drove to the courthouses while I was unemployed and living out of my car. I sat in on quite a few divorce proceedings, mainly in Macomb and Oakland counties, some in Wayne County.
Right.
And that 85% statistic of the woman getting custody and the man only getting custody 15% of the time. Of that 15% of the time that the man gets custody, 7% of that, he gets custody because the mother didn't show up in court. So he won by default.
Mm-hmm.
So if you back those numbers out, 93% of the time, the woman's going to get custody of those children. Now, my question is, at what point does this become a lawsuit against discrimination?
The problem we have, and this is true in every state in the country, and I saw it when I lived in California, I saw it in Miami, I saw it in Washington State, I saw it in Texas. The problem is the family courts are stocked with what I call academic Bolsheviks.
Drink.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. And they are in lockstep with their ideology. They are firm believers in what they're doing, and they really honestly believe that all men are bad, period. Yeah. They're programmed to be like this now from grade school on at this point. When we were kids, Pop, this had just started in the colleges. I saw some of it. I saw some of the crazy one of the craziest things I came across by accident. I was at a party in Ann Arbor, and I met militant Jewish, lesbian, bisexual, misandrist, man killer wannabe things. These three females that were all they would talk about is how they wanted to crush the patriarchy, and this was 1989. All they wanted to talk about was how they wanted to destroy the family and destroy men. And we're at a party at a college. I'm like, we should be drinking beer and listening to music. Can't you like smoke a joint and calm down? Or but that's it. That's literally all they wanted to talk about, and that was 1989. So I know where this is coming from. It's the school systems that are doing this, that are creating these creatures, because all of the teachers now are teaching this stuff. You can go into any classroom in any school in America, practically any public school, and find these teachers that are teaching this dogma.
They're indoctrinating these kids.
Yes.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Just go ahead.
Okay. You know the children are being indoctrinated when they don't know what the difference between a man and a woman is. There you go.
No lie detected.
I have a different theory though on the court system. Why the women get custody?
I was going to second that, but go ahead. Yeah,
the attorneys are in it for money. They're in it for money, and so you get somebody like some of the women with whom we have been involved. They walk into their attorney's office, and the attorney says, "Oh, you're a victim. You stayed home with the kids. You're a victim." And they have this mentality that every woman is like June Cleaver or Harriet Nelson, that stays home all the time, doesn't have a job, doesn't have a career. This 1950s mentality. And they keep kicking that can down the road because it works. Now, if it worked for them that somehow the men were victims, then they would switch to that. Whatever makes them money is what they're going to do. And they're also
I would agree with that.
Title 4D.
Just Title 4D. So just like Pop said, that's 7%, right? That little window. How these guys are getting custody. Okay. But a lot of it, what I see, even these rural areas like Ogama County, far outside Macomb and in Detroit, area, they make more money too. And they the courts go after the money. So if the woman made more money, they're going to blast her ass too. They don't
absolutely.
They don't care. It's not. That's where we're at. So that's what I'm seeing too. Is I'm like, wow, I got a couple friends that are going through this too, and it's like, you're a woman, yeah. The man might get custody, but why is that? It's money.
Yeah,
it's money driven. The whole thing. The whole 4D machine. It's all money.
What you guys are saying is 110% correct. Based on that, I would rephrase what I said and state that this is a multifaceted thing. You've got the people that are going into the system out of the schools. You've got the money that the attorneys want to make. You've got the money that the federal government pumps into the family courts. You've got the whole child protective services thing is based on how many kids they kidnap. And make no mistake, they're kidnapping those children. I'm going to tell a horror story later about, you remember the Marine Pop down in Florida?
Yes.
With his 5 daughters?
Yes.
I'll tell that whole story later. They kidnap these children and farm them through foster homes, and they get money for every kid they put in a foster home. So they're trafficking these children for federal dollars.
You literally have commercials. I've sat here with my wife and we start laughing. I'm going, there's literally friend of the court in Michigan friend of the court commercials going, are you ready for child support already? Are you ready for this?
Correct.
So they're
Really?
inducing this. They're stroking this whole thing. I mean, there's so many other things that they have for resources too, because again, Title 4D, guys, let's be honest, they have endless money. You're talking billions and billions of dollars. So they can do
all the divorce money.
It's craziness. But yeah, I'm literally watching these commercials on trying to stroke these women to go, are you ready for child support? We can do it the right way. We'll take care of you. And this has been happening, like you put that graph up. They're trying to replace the father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are. They've been doing this for, there you go.
For 50,
They've been
55 years.
Go ahead,
Yes,
Don.
you're correct, Don.
No, I'm just adding to you, Mark, or Brendan, sorry. They've been doing it for 55, 60 years.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. I mean, I talk to somewhere between 1 and 3,000 people a year, either, DMs, texts, comments, or direct emails or phone calls.
Yeah.
And I get probably 50 stories a year where the couple was married somewhere between 5 and 10 years. They want to just go do their thing, and they agree, they draw everything up, and then all of a sudden an attorney gets involved, and it literally it just implodes.
Yeah.
That right there.
You're 100% right, because I've heard of couples, just like you're saying, that want a divorce, they want to make it amicable, they want to co-parent.
Yes.
And if the courts find out they have children, they will not allow them to not state their income, because the state draws money from Title 4D.
Yes.
Yes,
And
that is 100% correct.
And the other thing too is like I said, these commercials, you see these things happening. DHS, Title 4D, if they could have control of your kids while you're married, they fucking would.
They absolutely would.
Yeah.
And it's all, I mean, when Bob was on, we were talking, this is, and I'm going to call it what it is. I mean, this is extortion 101.
Yes.
I mean, on a large scale, guys, large scale. But the father thing, the morals, the values, the respect, the things that I teach my kids, that's my job as a father, right? We're going to support morals, values, respect. That's my job as a father. Okay. Yep. They want to go, Pop, you said it earlier. There's two dynamics to, a woman getting married or whatever it is. Okay. They have someone that's going to take care of them for sure. But they also have a default too. And that's the court system. So they know they got two routes. If this doesn't work, I'm still going to fuck you over here.
Yes.
No matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge thing. It just, I've got a couple other buddies that are going through this too here in Ogama County. And they're just like, Brandon, I cannot believe this. This is the biggest nightmare of my life.
It's like a protection racket, but without the protection.
Absolutely. It's insane.
Yeah.
Just mind boggled by it and how they push so hard because of the money. Once you get into that system too, that's another thing. Once you get into that system, and Bob said it last week, there is no fucking opting out, guys. And if you do decide to do it, you better get ready for a lot of hurdles.
Getting
in's easy. Getting married's easy. That cost you $35. Getting divorced, well,
I won't go through the first 6 years of what I went through right now because I've gone through it on the show before. I got slaughtered basically. But then something happened in 2009. My ex-wife took my daughter to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport and left her there with a ticket and a single suitcase. And she was 8 years old. And abandoned her, fortunately, with a ticket to come to me. And of course, I went and picked her up at the airport. But she's like, Mommy just left me there.
Wow. I remember that.
Yep. Yeah, you were there for this one. And it was 2009. Yeah, it was definitely 2009. So she came to be with me, and her mom just disappeared for a while. Turned out she had gone back to Korea. She was Korean. And then there was almost no contact at all. And then she wanted to see her once, and I sent my mother with my daughter down to Texas so that she could see her mother, because at that point I had filed in court for abandonment and parenting plan being ignored. So the Oakland County courts, believe it or not, granted me custody. I still have a copy of the paperwork. I can actually, if anybody has this circumstances where a wife has abused the parenting plan, I have the paperwork that works, at least in Oakland County.
Now, when you bring up abuse the parenting plan, let's just be honest. All right. In your case, she straight up just abandoned the child. You easily provable.
Yes.
But there are men out there who are denied visitation dozens and dozens of times.
Yes.
And go in front of a court, and the judge does nothing but give verbal warnings.
Yep.
And sometimes even issues restraining orders against the guy.
Yes.
I've seen that as well. So here's the twist in mine, and this is where I got extremely lucky. I don't wish this on any child, but it's what happened. My wife had the good grace to die. And that is the only way that I got out of all of the family court stuff. That is literally the only way that I got out of it all.
Yeah.
Is my wife had the good grace to die.
When your wife went back to Korea, you should have sent those letters to her family with her name and with a red line through it.
No, dude, you have no idea how done I wanted to be. I didn't want anything to do with it at all anymore. I would have burned all of that paperwork if that last piece of brutality hadn't surfaced in my NICS file, in my FBI file.
And that was the opt-out portion of this whole thing.
Yes.
Unfortunately, like you said, but that's how the hurdles getting in, that's easy, and it's induced.
Yes.
And also, we have to bring up the fact that most of the attorneys out there actually coach the women to lie and claim abuse. When
I have evidence of that. I have all of the records. I was able to FOIA it all.
No, I'm just saying, in your case, but I'm just saying, on the regular, this is what they do. And there's no mechanism to punish these lawyers for doing that.
I will bet you right now, a meal of your choice anywhere you fucking care to eat, I'll bet you right now that if we went through all 50 states that have divorce courts that are behaving in this manner, which I believe is all 50 states, if I am not mistaken, that all of the abuse complaints, all of the beatings complaints, and all of the neglect complaints would be very nearly identical in wording.
Yeah.
Like as if they were from a script, which is how odd.
Have you heard of the silver bullet tactic?
Well, when they
I've heard the phrase.
What's that?
I've heard the phrase.
I've heard of the silver bullet, but the nuclear option is when the soon-to-be ex-wife accuses the soon-to-be ex-husband of sexual abuse on the child.
Yeah, it's similar to the silver bullet tactic. I think they go hand in hand. They, they'll involve the police and say there was abuse.
Yep.
And then the rights are stripped from the father. So that's when the parental alienation, really goes full force. And then, more money for lawyers and child support and all that garbage. Yeah.
And you're hammered at that point. And another thing too with these court systems, especially here in Ogama County, again, rural areas, they love default judgments. They love those.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no one's coming. There's no process server. There's no nothing. Oh, well, we sent it. Now you didn't respond because you didn't get it. You're getting a default judgment, and now you're in big trouble with the court.
And once that default judgment is in, it's very hard to fight them. I know.
Very hard to fight them.
Doing law for a long time.
Crazy hard to fight them.
Yeah.
Just mind-blowing to me how they...
The child abuse one, I was subjected to that. Not my wife, but a United States Army JAG attorney in legal assistance coaxed my wife into claiming that I was molesting my 15-year-old niece, who I was sponsoring so she could go to school on post. And she was a lieutenant in the JROTC at the high school.
Wow.
15 years old. This is a foreign national female. She wasn't even American. She was a good kid. She was smart. So I had the opportunity to sponsor her into the high school. You could sponsor like one kid from your family.
Right.
If you lived over there. And the attorney who made the accusation just made it. Didn't care. This is a 15-year-old girl, young, innocent, really good kid, sharp as a whip. But she's a foreign national and she doesn't understand our ways and has no context for any of this stuff. The motherfuckers used United States Army CID interrogators to question her.
Wow.
I literally almost went on a killing spree.
Yep.
I literally almost lost it when they did that. And I smashed it in the first sergeant's office when I found that out. And he's, oh, you calm down now. You calm down now. You had professional fucking military interrogators interrogate a 15-year-old girl. How fucking sick are you? By the way, she's a foreign national. Do you know what I do now, First Sergeant? I go to the Korean papers because you forgot something. I'm fucking civil affairs and I speak the local fucking language.
Right.
And that's when they started to really hammer me down and beat me down and force me out of military service because they knew that I would follow through on that.
And the family court division too will do that in general.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to pick a psychiatrist, a therapist. You're not allowed to do that in these court systems. They will do that for you because they know best.
Yeah, they did that. They did that to me as well in Pierce County.
Absolutely. That happens more than most people know.
Yeah.
So absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Prior to me getting lucky with my wife doing the decent thing and passing away, my daughter was from the age of 3 kidnapped for 2.5 years. I couldn't find her at all.
Yep.
They assisted my ex in kidnapping her and running. By they, I mean the United States Army.
I want to actually find the guy that your ex-wife was living with your daughter, and break his legs.
No, that guy turned out to be okay. He was a dupe. He never saw any of it coming. That guy turned to be out. It was the brigade HHD first sergeant that was the one that needs to be readjusted.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't think it. Well, no, nothing surprises me anymore. But I didn't think it happened on that type of level.
Wait until I tell you what the brigade chaplain did.
Oh, good night. Wow.
An Army brigade chaplain was writing signed letters on letterhead for the command under his rank and title, attesting that he knew all about my family, 2 family courts in Miami and Seattle, slandering me and claiming that I was abusing my wife. I met the man exactly 1 time in the entire time I was in that brigade, which was 6 years.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulas.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the meat caser box.